Welcome you all. This is Arivalagi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, JJ College of Arts and Science, Autonomous Pudukottai. This presentation is for 3rd BA English 5th semester students. In this presentation, we are going to see translation theory and practice paper. In that paper, the topic we are going to discuss is decoding and recoding. Translation. Translation is the recreation of thoughts and feelings expressed in one language, that is source language, to another language, that is target language. So translation is the recreation of rendering of thoughts and feelings from source language into target language. So translation is a process of decoding and recoding. Eugene Nida, one of the translation theorists, he considered the process of translation as a system of decoding and recoding. He says, essentially, the translation process is one in which a person who knows both the source and receptor language decodes a message of the source language and encodes it into an appropriate equivalent from the receptor language. So, translation is a process of decoding and recoding. The source text has to be decoded. That means, what is decoding? Decoding means comprehension and analysis. Comprehension and analysis. While recoding means reformulation and restructuring. Decoding means understanding the source text and analyzing the source text, and recoding means converting the idea, the message, reformulating and restructuring the meaning of the source text into target text, that is recoding. So the source text has to be decoded and its thematic richness and emotional ambience recaptured in the translated version through careful recoding. Thus, the translator is bound to be a master in both source language and target language. If he is well versed in both the source and target language, it is very easy for him to do a translation. Decoding. I already said you that decoding is comprehension and analysis of source text, analyzing and interpreting the source text. So here the translator has to group the themes, the tone and tenor of source text. Such a decoding implies a close study of the source text. So while doing a translation, the translator first of all analyze and interpret the source text, and then group the themes, the tone and tenor, the attitude, the stance of the writer, of the source text writer. Such a decoding. So to decode something, it needs a close study, deep study of the source text and its content and underlying culture. The translator must look into the text from various angles, various dimensions and perspectives. He should not fit into a particular dimension. He should keep his view in broad way. So first step in doing a translation is lexical analysis. Lexical analysis means word. Analyzing the words in the source text. Word is the basic unit in all communication. So the first point in linguistic analysis is word. Words have the phonemic and graphic dimension. Words have phonemic and graphic dimension. Phonemic means difference between sounds that can change the meaning of words in a language. What is graphic? Graphic means the smallest unit that has meaning in a writing system. So while doing a translation, the first step is analyzing the words and analyzing the dimension of the words, which is phonemic and graphic. They express meaning by themselves and mutual interrelation. So words deserve attention for phonemic beauties like euphony, alliteration and onomatopoeia. What are they? Euphony means pronunciation which is pleasing to the ear. Alliteration, use of the same letter or sound at the beginning of the words that are close together. For example, on the bald street breaks the blank day. Here the words bald, break and blank has same letter. The initial letter of the words are same. That is B. It is called as alliteration. And onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is the effect produced when the words used contain similar sounds to the noises they describe. For example, murmuring of innumerable bees. So words deserve attention. So we have to consider the phonemic and graphic dimensions. Words also deserve attention with reference to collocation, combination, repetition, and variation. Some writers use archaisms and new coinages. What is archaism? Archaism means a very old word or a phrase that is no longer used. And new coinages. New coinages means new words that is created either deliberately or accidentally. Those words will give certain ideas to the translator. So these things should be considered by the translator. Very often, writers resort to puns and use words as different parts of speech. So, lexical analysis means analyzing the word, and the words have phonemic and graphic dimensions. Then, sometimes the writers of the source text may use archaism and new coinages. These are the things which need a lot of attention from the translator to translate a work from source text to target text. Syntactic analysis, the way words are arranged in sentences, how words are arranged in a pattern, arranged in a structure, whether it is in a present continuous form or in relative class or in passive voice or in active voice. These are the things, these are the pattern of sentences. So the way words are arranged in sentences are very important. Word order indicates the relative importance attached to words in the message. For example, features like inversion, elision, and emphasis deserved the translator's attention. What is inversion? Inversion means act of changing the position or order of something to the opposite. Elision, act of leaving out the sound of part of a word when you are pronouncing it. For example, it is also said as a contracted form of a word. For example, we will is pronounced as will. Will. The W is taken out. The sound of a word, the sound of the part of a word is taken out. That is called elision. And emphasis is special importance or stress is given to something. So these things will deserve the translator's attention. They are clues to the meaning of the original text. Similarly, the use of particular sentence structures and patterns to be noted. They reflect shades of meaning and attitude. The translator could, when necessary, use PS grammar, phrase structure grammar, and TG, transformational generative grammar, and analyze sentences into kernels and transforms. Phrase structure means a structural representation of a sentence in form of an inverted tree. So the word is divided into a form of inverted tree. So these are the things that a translator should give attention. This will help him to understand the full meaning of the text explicitly and implicitly. The length of the sentences and their juxtaposition, like parallelism, repetition of words, antithesis, and balance, are also important pointers. Naturally, a translator should pay due attention to the syntax of the source text. So, semantic analysis, analyzing the meaning. That is semantic, analyzing the meaning of what? Meaning of source text. Language embodies meaning, but the meaning does not automatically reveal itself totally to the superficial reader. The reader should distill to full meaning of the source text. For this, he will have to read the text again and interpret it in the light of the author's life. If a translator has decided to do a translation, first of all, the thing he has to do is he has to analyze the word. Next, he has to see the sentence structure of the words. And third, if he has to get the meaning of the source text, he has to read the source text again and interpret in the light of the author's life. He has to see the biography of the author and his works and the works of his contemporaries. These are the things that the translator should consider while doing a translation. So he have to read the text again and again and interpret in the light of the author's life, his times and his works and the work of his contemporaries to understand the meaning of the source language text. So to understand the source text completely, the translator has to read the study the background of author, his life, his works, and his contemporaries and the works of his contemporaries, and only he can completely understand the meaning of the source language text. The translator has to go beyond words to images, symbols, allusions, and patterns of allegories. The translator should not merely see the words, and he should not analyze the words. He has to see beyond the words. What is the meaning that the source language writer is trying to convey through images, symbols, allusions, and patterns of allegory. That is the thing the translator should see. The problem is all the greater which modern text nowadays. The modern text has complexity of design, layers of suggestions, and conscious ambiguity. So it is a problem for the translator. So he has to give more attention to these kind of things. The translator must explore all possible shades of meaning before he begins his works. So he should understand a source language from different dimensions, from different perspectives. He has to do a lot of groundwork for this translation. Stylistic analysis. Here we are going to the translator is going to understand the style of a writer. Style refers to meaning that goes beyond more words and structures. So uh, we can't conclude a writer's style based on his or her usage of words and structures. It reveals because style reveals the attitude of the writer towards his subject and his reader. In what attitude he is conveying the source text, the translator should see that. It is equivalent in writing the intonation of speech. So the writer has to make a stylistic analysis of the source text if he is to recapture the tone and tenor of the original. So pragmatic analysis means the impact language on the receivers of messages. It studies the effect of language on the audience. So he must try to perceive the impact of the source language will have on the audience. He should try to impact his readers in the same way through his translation. So how the source language readers received the effect, the impact of the text in the target language too, the readers should receive the same effect of the language. But it is a difficult task. The translator has to do a lot of work. So recoding is the reverse of decoding. Here the translator begins with the message and converts it into linguistic material in the target language. This process involves a careful choice of diction. If the translator has understood the entire meaning of the source text, the next step is he has to reproduce the same meaning in the target text. So while doing the translation, the translator has to he has to carefully choose the diction, sentence structure, figures of speech, and other stylistic and rhetorical features available in the target language. So he has to give a lot of attention to diction, sentence structure, figures of speech, and in the available in the target language. The translator should find equivalence at all levels. He should ensure that he is faithful to the original text and the author. He should not give any loss to the meaning of the source language while he is translating that into target language. This involves an exploration of communicative resources and the points of similarity and dissimilarity between the SL and TL. This recoding involves a mastery of the TL. I already said you a translator should be a master in both SL and TL. Then only the translation will be possible and it will be successful. Translation is a process of decoding and recoding. The two words imply a whole range of linguistic, literary, and rhetorical skills. It needs a lot of understand understanding. Like the translator should have linguistic skill, literary skill, and rhetorical skill. So these things will make a good translation for a translator.